Good evening, everyone. It is I, Reynard C. Fox. Hope you're all doing well. This is my first video, and we're doing a delightful little commentary and laugh at a CNN anchor getting smoked in my hometown of Portland, Oregon, as one of the members of the Proud Boys, and I believe a founding member, just takes her to the cleaners. Let's watch.
Live pictures there from the ground, and we've been watching a tense scene out of Portland where far-right groups and counter-protesters, including the far-left group Antifa, are there on scene. Let's go back out to CNN, Sarah Seidner. And Sarah, we know police have already confiscated everything from bear spray to shields to metal and wooden poles. What's happening there now? Looks like things are relatively peaceful behind you.
They are peaceful. I mean, what you have is the police basically separated folks from the Proud Boys and who came for that, and the...
What's that? Doth my ears deceive me? I believe I could end the video right here. I could have sworn that woman said, oh, well, of course they're peaceful. The police have them separated. They have to be peaceful because the police have them separated. I don't know if that counts as peace. Is it? Forced peace, truce, forced truce? Somebody's got their arm twisted here. Although, that's not the point I'm making here. She just literally said to everyone, of course they're peaceful. You got the Proud Boys on one side, this is what they came here for. I don't know if she forgot to mention they came here for violence. But I'm pretty sure she just openly admitted to the fact that the Proud Boys were here and to be peaceful, despite the commentary on the guns, bring your guns and be ready. You know, I also want to add that being armed does not necessarily mean that you want violence. It could mean that you are expecting it to come from the opposition and you want to defend yourselves. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you want violence. I walk around the streets of Portland armed. Not with a pistol, but with a knife usually, because I'm expecting. I've been mugged before. I've been on the streets before. I've been homeless. I currently was homeless, and still technically am, though I'm in the hospital at the moment. But just something I wanted to point out right now that just came to mind is, you know, they keep touting this whole Mr. Big or whoever it is that's made these supposed Twitter accounts, which I haven't seen yet, and I would love someone to post them for me and show them to me in the comments section if possible, if anybody does watch this video. I don't necessarily believe that because someone says bring your guns and be ready means that they want violence. It doesn't even mean a call to violence. What it means is we have been attacked before at rallies and protests that we have organized civilly, we have filed for legally, as have been done time and again, and members of these groups, not necessarily left-wing, but in this case, yes, far-left groups like Antifa, who myself has experienced my own share of attempted acts of violence and malcontent. I honestly don't believe that because someone's saying bring your guns and be ready means that they want violence. They're just expecting it to come from the opposition. That doesn't necessarily mean you want it. I don't honestly believe that people coming there with the Proud Boys, where I've seen Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys show up with their families, want violence. They want to demonstrate peacefully. I would love to see these groups just give them a chance to demonstrate peacefully, whatever you expect them to do. And I'm about to go on a huge rant here, and I really don't want to make this over 10 minutes, but I just wanted to point that out. I didn't intend to point it out, actually. I was going to make some more jokes about this woman's inept and incompetent way of falling into a trap that she hadn't even set up for the other guy she's about to interview, who smokes her anyways. And here, let this be an introduction into how he smoked her. You know, non-violently, of course. He smoked her with words. But, yeah, I think that this is just a good time to point that out. I don't really believe the Proud Boys, given from what I've seen in interviews and the whole initiation ceremony and Mr. Tim Pool interviewing them. I've yet to see anything to prove that the Proud Boys have caused violence, although I will point out that that doesn't necessarily mean that there are not members in said groups just as much as Antifa who may potentially want that. There are bad apples in every group, every religion, every faction throughout the history of the world, some more than others. But anyways, let's get on with the video and have a few more laughs since we've gotten a little bit more of the seriousness out. Thank you.
Who is here? Why did you come to Portland? Why was this brought forward? Because I do want to mention the fact that Joe Biggs said some pretty violent stuff on Twitter before, saying death to Antifa, bring your guns, and that really ratcheted things up and made people feel very nervous here that there was going to be violence brought by your group, to this city.
Okay, so first and foremost, we came over here to raise awareness for domestic terrorism. Now, that's not just for Antifa. That includes the shooting that happened in El Paso, the shooting that happened in Dayton, Ohio, the attempted firebombing in Tacoma, Washington, and the shooting at the ICE facility in San Antonio. I mean, I could go on, but that's what we came here to do. We've been planning this for 2 months. The straw that broke the camel's back was the attack on Andy Ngo, an independent journalist that was just trying to document Antifa, and he got brain hemorrhage from it. And
I just want to mention that was in June, so just a month ago. But before that, in May, there was another melee, if you will, and some of the members of a right group that follows you guys and that tends to show up for these things, Patriot Prayer, one of their people just got arrested, turned himself in, Joey Gibson, for rioting. And so do you think this is a problem that both the right-wing groups and the left bring to the fore?
Absolutely not, especially here in Oregon. You have Patriot Prayer that went to go practice their First Amendment rights. If you look at that video, Joey was spit on, pepper sprayed. I think Ted Wheeler needs an axe to grind, and we're not going to be that group. So that's why we came here today.
And explain to me.
Bum, bum, bum. Well, you heard it from the Nazi right there, the black Cuban Nazi, I believe, as it's pointed out later on in the video. They came there to raise awareness about domestic terrorism, not about violence, something that results from domestic and foreign terrorism, something that domestic terrorism is the root of. No, it was... No, I'm sorry. I digress. Folks, I just wanted to point out that she does make a point like I said, I haven't seen the Twitter posts that Mr. Joe Big has posted. Joe Big? Was it Joe Big? Mr. Big. We'll call him Mr. Big because I think that's a hilarious name for a Proud Boys founder. I swear to God, that's got to be made up. But anyways... death to Antifa, followed by bring your guns. All right, so to break this down, I think if someone says death to Antifa, which I have said that myself before, I'm not saying, and nor do I believe the other person or anybody who says that, maybe a few out there, a few whack jobs, are saying death to members of Antifa. Antifa, I think they're talking about the movement and the ideology as a whole, and not the whole against anti-fascism. I mean, everybody on this planet who is in a democratic state or part of maybe the European Union or places, or of course communism, don't like fascism. And it's a little benign and irrelevant to name a movement anti-fascist or anti-fascista. I think, again, that when someone says death to Antifa, it is not the same as when Antifa might say death to the Proud Boys or death to Patriot Prayer, where they're probably thinking of murder on the brain. Just food for thought, spitballing here, considering Antifa always seems to be the fucking ones causing the violence when they show up to counter-protest these rallies that these guys, these gentlemen and their families have civilly and peacefully gone about, legally, mind you, gone about setting up. So, again, bringing that down, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but that doesn't necessarily speak for every member of the group, and so far as what we could see in this protest today, there wasn't a lot of violence, and as Mr. Enrique stated, the co-founder here in the interview, the straw that broke the camel's back was Andy Ngo, a Asian, gay, conservative journalist who I was actually in college with at Portland State University around the same time. As a matter of fact, my roommate, one of my roommates, worked with at I believe the PSU Vanguard, if I'm correct. I might be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Nago worked in the Vanguard when he was a student there. Someone could actually fill me in on that. But he was in Portland State around the same time I was, or as I was transferring from community college. The straw that broke the camel's back, of course, as he was saying, was when he got beaten and molested severely for no reason other than the fact that he was reporting and trying to present an objective and factual presentation of the rally that was going on. Antifa really doesn't like objective, factual presentations, considering it doesn't make them look very good because it's pointing out some objective facts about their movement being very, very violent and extremist. But again, before I go into another rant, we'll continue, but I just wanted to point that out there. I don't think Miss CNN correspondent, I forgot your name already, and as well as everybody else, I believe, unless you get some meme-worthy notoriety out of this interview, which you never know. I don't think he said some pretty violent things. I think he said some pretty blunt, harsh things that could be taken and misconstrued violently. Something CNN and other mainstream media groups, both right and left, really like to do.
People of color in particular who I've talked to that feel like they're being terrorized because of some of the language that is used by groups like yours against them. And you all have a history also in Manhattan. There's a case right now where there's videos out there of 10 members of your group or people that are around your group who
they went ahead and they
that's
threw a
not the
glass
way
bottle
the
of
city.
urine. That's fine.
That's
it's
not the way the city
The
sees it.
political
Same thing.
powers of the governor and the mayor of New York. Same thing that Ted Wheeler wants to do. I've had an open communication, open dialogue with Portland PD for the past month. And then here we are. There was two different stories. There was Portland PD's story and Ted Wheeler's story. And again, Ted Wheeler needed an axe to grind. So what we did is our message was bold today. Our message wasn't, we didn't stay there. We didn't antagonize anybody. We held our hands in prayer. We bent a knee. And then we went ahead and we left. We sent our message with zero violence.
What is the message that you are trying to send? Because a lot of people see the message as one of intolerance, xenophobia, racism. What is the message that you are trying to actually send?
Just a second ago, you mentioned people of color.
Holy shit, she just doesn't get it. I mean, he just said what the message was. Our message was bold. It was about peace. We bent a knee. I don't understand how CNN keeps doing this. Like, it's like they want people to see. I wouldn't be surprised if there are members within CNN, and this is a crazy conspiracy theory, which I don't even believe myself until I see actual evidence of. They're trying to implode within inside themselves and show just what a shit show mockery that they are within the mainstream media. I can't come up with any further answer as to how incompetent you could be on the ground interviewing this guy. He just stated what his message was, and yet you ask, what is your message? Because a lot of people feel that your message is about buzzword, buzzword, triggered buzzword. And this is where it gets great. This is really where I think the video is going to end here on the commentary, because it doesn't get much better than this, folks. It's where he goes, you mentioned about black people being fearful. He is black. I mean, he's mixed race, if anything. And a Cuban refugee, if that, or at least like the child of Cuban refugees who lost family members under Castro's communist regimen. Something that, sorry about that, a little indigestion there just a minute ago in my room service. Something that groups that they're protesting against are trying to promote. And so it would seem obvious what the message is. It would seem obvious that there's a lot of messages being sent. And given that groups like the Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer seem to be made up of individuals acting as a whole, but still allowing individuals to speak freely and share their own opinions, like he just mentioned, it's a matter of opinion of how you see it. And there is the competent opinion, there's the incompetent one, or at least the uneducated, maybe uninformed one. I'm willing to believe. I believe a lot of people out there who watch CNN who aren't going to these rallies or protests, aren't watching these interviews and really dissecting what's being said. And I know he said something there about a piss bomb being thrown. That's fine. I couldn't tell if he was speaking to a piss bottle being thrown. That is something that I would not agree with the Proud Boys to do, just as I chastise and disagree with Antifa doing. But all the same, there are people watching these shows who really aren't, I think, dissecting these interviews. And it's really mind-boggling how you couldn't see it as plain on the imaginary Pinocchio's nose on her face that you could think of when she is just like digging herself a hole, and that nose is getting longer and longer for people to like pull her up out of that hole, and yet she keeps swatting at him. No, I'm fine. I'm going to keep asking these stupid questions, these irrelevant, redundant, rhetorical questions that he's already answered. And that is CNN's, incompetence shining through right there. I really must applaud Mr. Enrique there for handling that interview like I've seen him and Joey Gibson and Gavin McInnes and so many others over the last couple of years who have just blown them out of the water. And I mean CNN, I mean Fox, I mean anybody within mainstream or the left or far right who just wish to play word games and twist what is being said when they have answered your question already. And I think that's a major take home right there, is like when you're watching these interviews and you see them give you the straight answer, which you should take as at least, take it with a grain of salt, but take it as their honest answer nonetheless, at least how they see it. And they ask them the same question again, and then say why they're asking this question they just answered already, with reasons such as triggered buzzword, xenophobia, like this is why I'm asking this again because I don't think your message is about that. Stop and ask yourself, why is it that they're asking these questions over again when they've already been answered and there's nothing there yet to prove during the event that's being shown that his answer is anything but honest, or at least him wanting that to be the movement as he wants it to be. And that's not to say that there's not people within his movement that might be maligned or using it for malicious or malcontent type purposes, but take it as his honest answer and as what he wants it to be. And don't be fooled by how CNN twists things. So that was the end of this response video, or I guess analysis video of the current Portland protests. This I wanted to do as my first film for two reasons. One, Portland is my home and I love it, and I see it as a city that's in great trouble and in great need of some logic and common sense. And while Proud Boys or Patriot Prayer might not be the answer, those of us who are watching or down on the ground like Andy know, who have suffered greatly at the hands of these violent groups, we want to find an answer and a solution to prevent these kinds of violent protests and rallies happening. And I want to thank everybody who was at this rally this time from both sides, that I am grateful that it was not violent. It was largely peaceful. There weren't as many arrests. That's a big step. And regardless of whether the police intervened and kept things separate, I'm quite amazed and applaud anyone who refrained from using violence and listened to the police, because that's what peaceful protesting and rallying is all about. That's something I hold very dear to me as a value as an American, is that our right to assemble and protest, provided we do not cause violence, we instigate it, or whatever. This has been Raynard C. Fox and my first video, and I hope you all enjoy it. I hope to have more coming along the way at a frequent rate. Let me know in the comments section how I did. Like, comment, or subscribe, and if you have any ideas for further videos that I might do, please shoot them along or send me a message or put it in the comments section. Thank you very much. And banner in Latin, I've forgotten how to pronounce the words because I put it up there quite a while ago, but never give an inch and never give up. Thank you very much. Have a good night.